don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman, because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. This is the 541st episode of The Joy of Painting, and I'm Bob Ross. Hello there, Les Cloud. It looks like you made it here. I'm proud that you guys you made it here. It was a little touch and go there for a second, but it looks like they are here. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we have a show for you, a show in store for you. Hey, tomorrow, you know what? It just dawned on me. I clicked on it right as I was going live. Tomorrow is a national holiday. It's Columbus Day. Kristopher Columbus, you know. A wonderful Italian that came to the new land and killed everybody with sickness and in slavery and all the horrible shit that he did. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, governments won't be open tomorrow, but I'll be hard at work. No, I was just getting ready to say I was going to go get a haircut tomorrow, but tomorrow's Monday. And as we all know, there are no such things as barbershops or beauty shops or any kind of shops with scissors and buzzy things and chairs and people there to cut it all off. So Tuesday's the day I'm going to shave, get rid of all this nonsense. I'm going to go get my hair cut and do all of that. So I've had it up to here. I haven't been saying anything about it on the show, but I have been telling myself, and I'm past the point. I'm past the point of having to deal with it and deal with all this, so I'm getting it gone on Tuesday. That being said, I'm disappointed that the government won't be at work tomorrow. We have a big week ahead of us. And of course, they're off playing, sailors and cowboys and Indians or whatever it is that they're doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Political Spotlight. If you would, please take a little bit of your time and find yourself down to the thumb, the like button on your screen, your tablet, whatever form of technology that you're watching this program on. And please give us that like button. You know, we need it. We're like like button junkies. I just need one more like. I just need one more like, and then I'll be set. I'm not trying to get loved. I'm just trying to get straight. I just need one more like. So if you could do that, like that button, that'd be great. Click that bell if you haven't. If most of you have been here so long, you're like, I don't even know what that bell does anymore. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. Then click the bell. You can do that for free. If you want to communicate with us, you do that over here on the right-hand side. I got to tell you guys, when I got off the show on Thursday night, we got off and everybody's like, oh, I'm going to bed for the night. And everybody was doing their thing. And I was like, it's the last night of the show. Everything's great. And I'm going into my weekend. Well, let me tell you what my weekend consisted of. I got off the program with you guys Thursday night, and it had dawned on us, me and my co-host over on the other show, that we hadn't recorded the episode for this week. And we're like, oh no, well, we better do it. So I was like, okay, when are you going to do that? Sometime tomorrow? To which she says, no, let's do it right now. Okay. So then Rachel and I proceeded to record another episode of another show when I got off the air Thursday night. And it's so funny because I know that there's a lot of things that Rachel doesn't know. I know that timing issues. Good, I love it. I know that there's a lot of things that Rachel doesn't know, but it's funny when we find these things out together and I get to make fun of her on the program. So for example, when I talked to you guys and said, hey, if you want to communicate, do that up there. And if you want to give us the like, you're going to have to hit this like right up here. You know what I mean? Well, I know that when I'm pointing to this thing, it's right here by my head. It's not by my head. That thing's not here. It's on the screen. And I'm looking into the monitor that shows me where it's really at. This is kind of like the weather thing, the green screen behind us, and you got to point different directions. So I told her to point. This is what I'm going to show you guys really quickly. So I told her to point. I put this up on the screen. So this is what it looks like on our screen. That's the little thing that's up. And then sometimes I put this thing up. I put up the merch thing. And I'm over here on this side, and she's on that side. And I told her to point to this merch thing. And immediately she did. And she said, hey, the merch thing's right here. And I'm like, no, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Switch your hand. And she's like, okay, the merch thing's right here. And I'm like, no, you're still doing it wrong. I was like, you have to point opposite of what you think you're pointing. And she's like, what? It blew her mind. It's funny to watch people that aren't used to this stuff realize, because that's the biggest thing that trips everybody out. Like I said in the show, the room behind me is not set up like this. The room behind me is switched. So for example, this thing right here, this gold thing, is not over my shoulder like you think it is. It's crazy. It's a big long thing. Yeah, she'll get broken in. She's doing really well. She's doing really, really well. And this episode that we recorded, it touches on a serious topic, but she did a really good job. She kind of dove in and talked about some really serious personal topics. If you're interested in watching that, I would highly recommend you slide over to that channel and check that out. It's worth a watch. Definitely this week's would be worth the watch or worth the listen. If you want to listen to it, you can find it here, youtube.com/ at Bilbrey Clark Show. You can also listen to the podcast audio only version at bilbreyclarkshow.fireside.fm, or you can find it on iTunes and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all that stuff. You can find it the same place you can find all of these audio podcasts. You can find that. But I would highly recommend you watch it in the YouTube format, because that's where you get the most enjoyment out of watching, seeing. It's a really good show. And even though we talk about some very serious topics, we also talk about where eyelashes come from when they're in your mouth. We talk about people's last names. Are you down with the man taking a last name of the woman? Does it matter? Does it not matter? What if you have a really weird, funky last name? So we talk about some funny things, and we do our best to cover a serious topic the way that only we can. So that's enough shameless plugging of that show. Let's get to this show. I was hoping last week, by the time that I was hoping by the time that we got to today, meaning last Sunday when we were talking to Audie, and then I guess Monday early, I was hoping that by the time we got to Sunday, October 12th, that we would be done talking about the City of Muncie and the budget, and the City of Muncie budget issues and things of that nature. Kate, that's exactly 1000%. That was our that's what we came to too. Yeah. Stumblefoot, that's definitely something that we've looked at, doing different things. The first episode kind of touched on some national political issues, but yeah. But as we know, we went to the city council meeting, and literally all hell broke loose, like nothing I've ever seen before. Everybody I've talked to, and I've been like, "Yo, hey, did you see the Muncie City Council meeting?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, I would highly recommend watching this city council meeting." They're like, "What, where, what point?" And I'm like, "Turn it on and keep it on until it goes off, because it's crazy. It's a runaway train from start to finish." Now, I've got some new thoughts about all of this, and I've got some issues that I'm going to be bringing you. I'm telling you, this last week, in my opinion, it culminated with like all of this budget talk and everything happened last week. Everything just kind of broke the City of Muncie government. And what blows my mind is they are all running around acting like nothing happened. They are running around just saying like, everything's perfect. There's no issues here. There's nothing to worry about. We can just sweep this all under the rug and everything's going to be A-okay. A-okay. And Alva, you please do me a favor. Please do me a favor, sir. At some point, maybe, yeah, it's got to be on this week's episode. At this, please go to that episode and share that comment somewhere, please. She has to see that. She will love that comment. That will make her laugh so much. You might take some heat by some of the other people that are commenting and be like, how dare you? But Rachel will love it. So, yeah, you got to do that. No, but so, there's some craziness going on with the City of Muncie as normal. I mean, I just get so sick of saying that, honestly. Like, I wish people are like, aren't you ever positive? And I'm like, give me something. Give me a thing. Give me one thing to be positive about. And I will do it. I will do it. We've still got some Democrats, Stumblefoot. And just because Dishman and Garrett left the Democrat Party, they're certainly not Republicans. Hell, our Republicans aren't Republicans. I don't even know what is going on anymore. It's just all just like a large soup of stupidity, honestly. If you want to truly hear about it, it's a large just cauldron of zero or anti-common sense. So one of the things that I reach out to Nora Powell, Counselor Nora Powell from District 2, not last week, it's been 2 weeks now, was if the administration isn't giving you what you need on the insurance, absolutely, Dave, absolutely. David, which do you prefer? LaRue? 50L? What do you want me to call you on here? It's always so confusing. I can call you whatever. Whatever you want me to call you. I'll call you whatever you want me to call you. Green L. It blows my mind that like Shireen's running around laughing about it. She's running around like talking about she's not worried. I've got no reason to be worried. Nothing's going to happen. Yeah, that's right. No, that's exactly right. It is a large-scale criminal organization that has been exposed, and it has been exposed. I like what Nora said when Nora said, God, it's so crazy saying that. God, it's so crazy to say that. But I like when she said, Dave, that works. Okay, good. I like when Dave's not here. I like when Nora said that just because they don't like being called out doesn't make it false. And I mean, I agree with that. And so many of them don't understand that. So many of them don't get it. And they think because they're getting a paycheck, there's literally people in the administration who 3 years ago would have been calling the administration out for this. But because they're getting a paycheck for their jobs now from Dan, they're like, no, everything's going good. You're all stupid. You know, and I gotta tell you, friend or no friend, that's getting real tiring. It's really wearing on me because I might be stupid, but I'm like still ahead of the Ridenhour administration. They're more. I'm stupid, Bilbrey, but they're more stupider Dan. You know, that's his name. My name is Stupid Bilbrey, and his name is More Stupider Dan. So that's how it goes, okay? So yeah, I guess I'm dumb, but they're dumber. So what's interesting to me is on October 9th, the meeting was on the 6th. On Thursday the 9th, Nora released something. We're going to look at that here in a second. Producer Kate says, you tried to put forward an $11 million resolution using signatures from an old resolution. If it's not criminal, then it's morally repugnant. I want to just stop here. And let me tell you about something that frustrates me. And it doesn't frustrate me because a lot of people are going to be like, well, that's bullshit on Rob's part. It's not, though. It's not. That's the reason what we do here is better than terrestrial radio, because we're our own bosses. I guess you guys are kind of, no, I like, you're not our bosses. I'm the boss here. Kate's the boss here. We're the boss here. We are in charge here. This is not government. You guys aren't certainly in charge. What did Rush Limbaugh say? Benevolent dictator. Yeah, I like that. Maybe it's like not so benevolent dictator. Maybe that's what we could be. Wait a minute. They're using auto pens. that very well could be. Just to stop everything else, don't worry about the budget anymore. Don't worry about anything. Just think about this right here. Just leave this up here just for a second. Kate says, you tried to put forward not me, but the administration. You as the administration, you tried to put forward an $11 million resolution using signatures from an old resolution. If it's not criminal, then it's morally repugnant. And there are people that are hearing this and saying, what? They're going crazy. They're getting mad. But the insider, the Right Now administration people, they're running around acting like it's all okay. Everything is okay. There's no problem with that. Everything's okay. And I can't understand that, because to me, I'm like, everything breaks down at this point. Last week and the build up to last week, I was saying we can't move forward. If we can't agree on just a yes or no, did Ridenhour send an email that contained everything that the administration needed? The Ridenhour administration is saying, yes, I did that. The council's saying, no. I'm looking at it and I'm saying no. Kate looked at it. Kate's like, I don't think it makes sense to me. You all looked at it and you're like, no, it doesn't look like they did what they needed to them. Outside people who are normally friends of Dan, have said it doesn't look like they're doing the right thing. I've said, well, this doesn't make sense and we can't move forward. If you can't even admit that there's a problem here, then we have no steps forward that we can take. Well, then they blew right past that with a totally bigger stupid thing. And that's this Resolution 17-25 thing. They should be mad. It's definitely a constitutional issue. Yeah, it's definitely a problem. The council needs to know the full cost, the full savings, and any changes to the coverage. That half sheet sent gives them none of that. And Kate's absolutely 1,000% correct on that. Absolutely. So now the question is, wait a minute. Why did they turn in Resolution 1725? Why didn't they go to Dale? Why didn't they go to another counselor? Couldn't they have went to Roe or Jeff Green? or Jerry Dishman? Couldn't they have done that? Why did they need to try to do what they did with Dale? And there are going to be people and be like, well, they didn't have any bad intent here. No, they specifically had bad intent here. I'm going to tell you why. I think they had bad intent here because they did this after it got pushed through and the ordinance went through and everyone had a copy of it and it's online. Then the signature page disappeared. We're not even really talked about that. The clerk's office now has a copy with a blank signature page. What? That seems like a really big problem. Why didn't they go to Dale? Dale said he would be the mayor's rubber stamp. I think that might be coming to an end. I hope, maybe, we'll see. I don't know. I think he's getting a little peed off by what's happening. So I don't really know. Hopefully he's starting to get smarter with that. I don't really know. But the thing is, Nora and the council has had the upper hand in this argument all along, except when I asked 2 weeks ago, why aren't you looking for the things that you need to be doing? And if they're not giving to you, go forth and try to get them another way. And what her answer was to me on Thursday, Thursday before the weekend, before the Monday vote, was like, well, we probably don't have enough time. But then on Tuesday, when they woke up Tuesday morning and they didn't vote on the budget the night before, now they've got all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, all day Thursday, all day Friday. Okay. Then they've got all day this Monday, all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday, and all day Thursday before the vote goes. I tell you, when we get to Thursday evening and I stand before that council and I ask them once again, and this time actually on the record, on 9/23, you guys issued a request, an ultimatum, whatever you want to call it, and a deadline to the administration for insurance information. And I've had an answer from you guys publicly out in the public square, but I want to hear it on the record. Can one or all of you answer and tell me, do you believe that the administration lived up to your request? Do you believe the administration lived up to the deadline? And what I assume I will get is I assume Counselor Powell will answer and say, as I've answered you before, or like I've stated, no, I don't believe they did, or something to that. Now, when she does that, I'm going to take that answer, but I'm also going to then say, okay, a Democrat has given me that answer. I now want to hear from a Republican. Dale, do you believe that you got what you need? I'm going to put him on the spot. So, Dale, I'm telling you, have an answer, because I'm coming to you to ask it. Thursday night, be prepared. I'm letting you know ahead of time, because I want you to have an answer. I don't want you to just sit there, fiddling your thumbs. I want to hear an answer, because it's coming. When they tell me no, I'm going to say, okay, so you guys have essentially had all the budget process, but definitely the last couple of weeks, did any of you try to reach out to the Anthem insurance yourself, which Nora said that she has the authority to do? They all have the authority to do as counselors, as fiscal committee members, as the fiscal body elected official. They have the authority to do. That's definitely a topic of conversation that people can have. I definitely understand someone saying that. But I don't want them to use this as a political football to be bashing it off the Ridenour administration if then in the end they didn't take any steps to try to further get the information. That needs to be called out. And now what's going to be funny is the other side's now going to be like, oh, look, you just have to say that because you can't give it to Nora. You can't just let her have. I'm like, no, first of all, no, I'm not going to just let any of them have anything. They're going to have to work for it. But second of all, they have to work for it. And if they don't, what are you saying they? You're saying they now. Oh, you're fixing that. I don't know what's going on. They've had weeks to try to get the information through other channels. Yeah, absolutely. Which I ask, and that's the reason I specifically asked that of Nora. So when I find out that they didn't take these last couple of weeks to try and do that, I don't know. Did I make it abundantly clear to all of you that I also filed the public access complaint last week? I did do that. I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of that. I know I filed a complaint. I know that Rhonda DeFries filed a complaint. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe David Williams filed a complaint. My nephew, who's not really my nephew, just the guy that I call my nephew. He's not my nephew. He's like more like some kind of cousin or something. We are kind of related. He's more related to my grandmother than he is me, but because my grandmother's my grandmother, I mean, we are related. Yeah. Whatever. Anyways, that's a weird thing. Ryan Webb calls him my nephew, which is hilarious. They've had weeks to try and get their information through other channels. Yeah, that's that. So that's interesting. Well, then I noticed on October 9th, Nora put out a statement. And Nora says, the more you know, motion to delay action on the budgets. Muncie City Code Section 32.43, subpoint B, number 4. No member of the council may participate by means of electronic communication in a meeting at which the council may take final action to adopt a budget, make a reduction in personnel, initiate a referendum, impose an increase of a fee, impose an increase of a penalty, exercise the council's power of eminent domain, or establish, impose, raise, or renew a tax. Nora says, I have been asked to explain why I motioned to delay the action on the 3 budget ordinances during our October meeting. As I explained to Mr. Scaife, there were only 8 members of the physically present at Monday's meeting. Mr. Garrett was participating electronically, as set forth in Muncie City Code, which is the same as state law. A council person may participate electronically, provided the meeting does not include taking final action on the adoption of a budget and those other items, A through G. Mr. Garrett was not permitted to participate in the October meeting at all, Mr. Garrett was not permitted to participate in the October meeting at all as long as Ordinance 3025, 3125, and 3225 were on the agenda for final consideration. Council opted to delay the action on those 3 ordinances due to Mr. Garrett's absence to avoid a potential situation where the outcome would have been a 4-4 decision. In that instance, the motion to adopt the 2026 budget would fail. The vote would be no. If the vote were a tie, the council is not permitted to do a do-over in hopes someone will change their mind. The budget ordinance would be rejected. If that were to happen, the city would revert back to the previous year's 2025 budget totals. That includes the expense totals, but also our income totals as well. The DLGF has confirmed the city will receive nearly $2 million in additional edit dollars and $400,000 in public safety local income tax lit dollars in 2026. A failed motion to adopt would have erased those grants and financially harmed our city. Council's action protected the additional income Muncie will receive. The members present had to navigate Mr. Garrett's absence carefully for two reasons. One, to fully comply with city code, and two, we couldn't take the risk of opening Ordinance 3025 for discussion and forcing a vote. I made the motion to delay the action at the beginning of the business portion of the meeting rather than when Ordinance 3025 was called, so Mr. Garrett would be permitted to cast votes while he was in attendance, but my focus was to move those budget ordinances out of play as soon as possible. The delay in action at the suspension of the meeting and not an adjournment allows all council members, including Mr. Garrett, the opportunity to voice their opinions and cast their votes on the mayor's proposed budget while still remaining fully compliant with city code and Department of Local Government's finance rules. The October 6th council meeting will reconvene on Thursday, October 16th at 7 p.m. If you have questions about Monday's meeting, please contact me or the city controller. I don't understand really why she keeps directing people to the city controller. The city controller is not going to answer any questions. I would say please contact me or any of your other council people or the mayor, because Craig's not going to answer any questions. And I agree with a lot of what she said about that statement. If only they would have taken care of that during the beginning of the meeting instead of holding a closed door meeting. I have a major issue with a closed door meeting. What additional income? The mayor said the city was losing over $1 million and nothing I've seen shows an increase in income. I think what they're talking about is the edit dollars. The city is getting an increase in edit dollars. The city's going from approximately 4 million to about 5 million in edit. So I think that's what she's referring to. Well, and then plus the 400,000 in lit. But I will tell you, I think her statement there lets us know no matter what goes on, she's going to vote for the budget. Well, okay, so Alva says, would the council do the same thing if Sarah isn't there next Thursday night? It would only be 8 members present and a possibility of a four-person tie. That also, and the fact that because this is the adoption of a budget, it's not just a quorum. It takes a supermajority vote. So even if Brandon's not there, it's still or Sarah's not there, because normally on votes, if someone's not there and it's just a regular ordinance or regular resolution, normally it's, instead of it being like you don't have to be, it's not 5-4. It's just, the majority. As soon as there's a majority, there's a winner. In this, they would still have to have 5 votes. They would still have to have 5 votes. So I think what we're seeing here isn't like a helping or hurting the Democrats, Republicans. What we're seeing is they're going to pass this budget. And so when we find out that they're going to pass the budget, basically no matter what happens, no matter what goes on, no matter what's happening, And we know that they're not going to cut anything. Maybe they'll put forward an amendment to cut Amber's job. So I'm hearing this. I'm hearing the scuttlebutt is the administration thinks they're going to try to make 3 cuts. Because remember, they made 3 cuts last year, but only 2 of those are still around. The deputy mayor never came back. I'm hearing that the administration believes that the council is going to put up Amber's job to be cut. That's communications director, or if you're looking at the budget, it's channel 60. The deputy controller, and drumroll, police chief, deputy chief Deegan. And that's what the administration is worried about. Now, if they do that, they can put that forward. That amendment's not going to pass, so it doesn't matter. So then at the end of the day, the Democrats, led by Nora, they've got to say to themselves, are we not going to vote on this because we didn't get our way? Or are we voting on it because Nora is dead against going back to last year's totals because she's still connected to the government? When she wasn't connected to the government, when she was not connected to the government in 2019, while she was sitting up there and she knew that she was leaving, they simply just didn't pass the budget, and she didn't give it another thought because she didn't have to deal with it. And I know it's hard, and I know it's tough, and I know you give up things, and I know it's not the best answer, but it comes back to like what I say a lot. And once Audie gets the wheels cranking, once he gets the oil behind the ears and gets going and realizes what's happening and doesn't say weird things, Audie says, cut the mayor off. Don't just give him money hand over fist, over hand, over fist, whatever. Cut him off. That's your only chance to teach him a lesson. Thank you, Catherine. Don't forget to hit the like button, friends. And so he's right about that. We're kind of going all over the place because I'm bouncing back and forth between the budget issue and Resolution 1725. And before I go on to start talking about some record request issues and kind of let you know where some things stand there, I want to talk about another topic. And this other topic is connected to Resolution 1725. And so I've got to go all the way back to the scary times. I got to go all the way back to May of 2019 to dig this up. Let me find this. Let me get this found out here. Go all the way back to May of 2019. And let me see here. I want to pull up this. I want to pull up this ordinance, and I want you guys to consider this. I want you guys to think about this as we're thinking here. Okay. Here we are. We're almost there. Let me find it here. So there is this ordinance that state government has put in to state law that gives the council a little tool. And the last time I had to utilize this was all the way back in 2019. But I want okay, here we go. I want everybody to be able to hear this. I should have pulled this up. I was just thinking about it as I was looking at what Nora was looking. Okay. This is man, this is so crazy. Looking back at some of these things from 2019, looking back at some of the stuff is just absolutely out there, because this is back when we were the whole thing with the 2019 election was in play, and we were fighting against Nora, and we were dealing with the FBI investigation, and Dan was running for office, and that whole deal. It was just so crazy, everything that was going on. And so I think it's basically, let me look for it this way. Muncie City Council Power Ordinance 3208. I think is what it is. Okay. I want you to listen to this. This is very important. Under Indiana law and the City of Muncie's Code of Ordinances, there's a little known ordinance under Ordinance number 3208, which gives the Common Council, all 9 of the Muncie City Councilors, Jeff Green, Nora Powell, Brandon Garrett, Sarah Gullion, Jerry Dishman, Harold Mason, Dale Basham, Rose Selvey, William McIntosh. All 9 of them have this ability, and I want you to listen to this. According to the Muncie Code of Ordinances, Section 3208 gives the Common Council the power to investigate city departments, officers, and employees. The council can compel testimony and access city records related to these investigations. All right? The Common Council's investigatory powers. The council's authority is detailed in 3208, and it allows them to investigate the following: any departments, officers, or employees of the city, any charges made against any department, officer, or employees of the city, the business affairs of any person or company that the city has or is considering a contract with, the process of conducting said investigation. To conduct an investigation under this ordinance, the Common Council has specific powers: access to records. The council's entitled to all records pertaining to the investigation. Power of subpoena. Folks, this is just like the big boys and girls in Washington, or the medium-sized boys and girls in Indianapolis. Okay, they have this power. The council can compel witnesses to attend and produce evidence through subpoena and attachments that can be served and executed within Delaware County. Court enforcement. If a person refuses to testify or produce evidence, the Common Council can direct its clerk to report the refusal to the Delaware County Circuit Court, and if the court finds the testimony or evidence should be provided, it will order the person to comply. Legal basis. The ordinance of authority is based on Indiana Code 364621, a state law that governs second-class cities like Muncie. Now, I want to be clear here. I wholeheartedly believe that the council must enact 3208 to investigate the executive assistant of Dan Ridenauer, along with the Muncie City Clerk's office, to find out exactly what in the hell happened in the days up to September 22nd and the few days immediately following September 22nd. I think the council must investigate why this resolution 1725 was filed, why they didn't take the steps that they otherwise normally would, why they wouldn't call Dale to come up there and have him sign it. I think they have to investigate whether or not Shireen took a copy and gave it to the clerk's office like she thought everything was okay. Or listen, if the clerk's office is responsible for it, look, I'm willing to say maybe Shireen took a blank copy down and the clerk's office stuck it in. Somebody did that. The clerk's office blamed it on Shireen. Shireen says, I'm not worried. I think the council has to investigate it. And the reason I'm saying that is because of this. The police are not going to investigate this. The police are not going to do anything with this. They're not going to do anything with this. Muncie is not going to, they won't even fill out a hassle report, a pain in the ass rat report, avoidance technique report. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll give it to you. It's not going to go nowhere. You're all right here. All right, shut up. They're not going to fill anything out. Delaware County Sheriff's Department's not going to fill anything out. State police aren't going to fill anything out. But the council can investigate it. Producer Kate says, I think that it needs to be reported to the AG and the FBI. Well, I've been doing my digging last week, and I didn't get very far. Monday, well, they're not in Monday. Tuesday, rather, I will start sending out the information to the AG's office and to the FBI. It needs to be looked into. That's a good question. So I think that it would have to be a council. I think it would have to be a vote. I think the council would have to vote on it. I don't think that any just member of the council can go off being Dick Tracy or Sherlock Holmes. I don't I don't think Rose Selvey is going to, deputize herself and go buy a gun and run around kicking people's doors open or anything like that. But I think they have to do it. It's only while they're in. It's only while they're in meeting, and it's very limited to what they can do. But I think they need to take a look at this. And one of the reasons I say this is the most important reason. There's two reasons I say this. The first reason is the most important because we need to get to the bottom of what happened here. We need to understand why this happened. I'm going to tell you, this is going to be one of those things when I go into not Thursday's meeting, because it's going to only be focusing on the budget. But when I go into November's meeting and they just are sitting there and they go through everything and they don't do anything, when I get up at the public comments, I'm going to be like, hello, do we have any word on what the hell happened with 1725? And when they say no, I'm going to be like, well, shouldn't you look? And then I'm going to do the same thing in December and January. And it's going to be one of those things I have to say every time. So I think they need to get to the bottom of what happened here. But number two, and while this is going to sound like a selfish reason, I swear and I promise you it's not, and I'll explain why. So I've been talking to WIBC about this, and WIBC is like, yeah, this is a wild story. This is a wild story. Sounds like this is something that we probably need to have you in on and do a story on. And I'm like, yes, absolutely, I agree. And their immediate response is, okay, as soon as there's an investigation, let me know. And I'm like, well, the police aren't investigating it. And so I was going back and forth, and I was talking with Rob, and he's like, he's like, this is a big story. He was like, but this is going to have to be, because of the nature of what it is, we're going to have an investigation to do something about it. And I know that Dale's not going to go to the police. I know that he's not going to try to go to Muncie County or the state. I know that Aubrey Christ isn't. I know that Craig Wright isn't. So the best thing to do here, and Dale should have some interest in this, figuring out why this happened. Figuring out why this happened. I think we have to do it. Before I move on, I want to segue here really quickly to, I don't want to get out of here without answering Dave's question here. Any scuttlebutt on Invenergy and Royerton solar projects continuing? I cannot tell you about any scuttlebutt about those specific things. I can tell you, however, that back some time ago, 2 to 3 weeks before the commissioners voted on this, I received a message from someone asking me if I would be interested in information pertaining to, I want to get the name right. Geronimo, is that a name? Oh, right here it is. Yeah, Geronimo. This is a message I got from someone. Are you interested for your blog or show about Delaware County solar ordinance costing farmers and taxpayers millions of dollars? In the next day, and this was sent out on October 1st, in the next day or so, I will have a letter from Geronimo, the developer for my farm, leaving the project because of Delaware County commissioners. Commissioners vote next Tuesday. They are sending a letter to the commissioners tomorrow. Their intent is to kill the project because of an unworkable ordinance. They would have donated $490,000 a year in edit funds for the life of the solar project. Everyone needs protection, but the decision, this decision will cost our farm in this county almost $5 million over the 35-year life of the project. And that's all I've got. I've not heard back from that person. I've not got a letter. I'm interested. I'm interested in the letter. I'm interested in all of that. So, hold on a second. If anybody has anything like that, I'm all for looking over it and whatnot. But it sounds like, from what I'm hearing there, whatever company that Geronimo is pulling up and saying, yeah, no thanks, sorry, I'm out of here. So I don't know if they're connected in any way to Invenergy or to the Royerton project, but it sounds like those people are hitting the road. So that's that. I'm still going to cover the solar project stuff. I just got to get this budget stuff behind us. I also have a really big thing I'm working on from Henry County, but I got to get this budget stuff behind us. Thursday, the budget will be here and it should be done. And we can go back to shooting different stories, from different areas out of the park. So Kate says, why wouldn't the attorney want to do something? And my response to that is, it would maybe be interesting, and maybe they would if they were the council attorney, but they are the city attorney, which means they work for Ridenhour. They get paid because they represent Ridenhour. And so, hey, listen, I guarantee you that attorney can't be happy about it. They can't be happy about it. I was talking to an attorney on Saturday, and that attorney was like, man, I would be right pissed. Now, I also want to clarify something. Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, and here's the problem, right? So it's not like it's Kate Thornburg, Esquire, amazing lawyer, out of a shoebox, representing the city of Muncie. It's Beasley Gilkinson Law Firm, and they have a bunch of various attorneys that work for them, and one of them just happens to be this Aubrey Christ. And so that's not even like their main one. Their main one is Mark Irvin. And so, like, she could be like, all right, screw you guys, I'm quitting. But Beasley Gilkins is still like, it's just a weird thing. So that's the reason I see that nothing happening there. Okay. And then the other thing that I wanted to say just quickly, I feel like this has to be brought up. The day after this happened, Jeff Robinson, everybody remembers Jeff, Redhead Jeff, former counselor, ran for mayor. Jeff Robinson made the following comment. Will the person who submitted the fraudulent document for the $11 million fire station be held to account? ? It's pretty clear in the below cited Indiana code to be a felony level offense. Forgery, IC code 354352, making/uttering a document so it falsely appears authorized by someone else at another time or with different provisions. In modern practice, this typically is a level 6 felony unless other factors elevate it. Official misconduct, Indiana Code 3543-111, applies to a public servant who commits an offense while performing an official duty, often paired with an underlying offense like forgery or fraud. It's a level 6 felony. Jeff wrote that out. The Dan addicts, the sycophants, immediately started saying and posting everywhere, Jeff Robinson called Shireen a felon, getting a bunch of people to jump on Jeff's back saying, how dare you call her a felon? Shame on you. That is, you have definitely disparaged her and impugned her character, and this is wrong, and she should sue you. Jeff did not say or claim specifically outright she is a felon. She's been convicted. Down with Shireen. Jeff said what they're stating that she did seems like it's felonious behavior if you read these criminal codes. And listen, I gotta agree. I gotta agree with him. I don't think that's saying we know that she's a felon, she got a felony, blah, 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 blah. Well, no, that's not what's happening here. So everybody's doing some real crazy gymnastics and mental gymnastics to be able to get themselves in a position to back Ridenhour on this insane claim that, you know, Shireen was acting accordingly. Just crazy to me. It's crazy to me how quickly. And then where's the Star Press? Where is anything on talking about any of this? Star Press, don't talk about the open door violation. All right, I'm down with that. Cool. Star Press, don't talk about 1725. I'm down with that. Okay, cool. Can't you, shouldn't you, don't you think you have an obligation to post anything about the council currently being in the budget process? Is there a reason we're not talking about the budget process? I would like a chance to talk to all citizens of Muncie right now. Citizens of Muncie, unite and take over. Citizens of Muncie, how many of you know that we're currently working on a budget process for the city council for next year? How many of you are aware of that? How many of you know what that process is? How many of you know how much money the general fund will have starting on January 1st, 2026? If there are a lot of people out there that don't know those questions, don't know the answers to those questions, then the newspaper needs to be saying like, all right, hey, it's listen, Dave Pennicuff just penned an article for the Delaware County Commissioners. Why can't he pen an article? I know he's retired. Why can't he pen an article for the city of Muncie? He doesn't have to go or attend. He doesn't go to the commissioners' meetings. He watches from home. Maybe a week later even. Whatever. Saying Shireen is a felon kind of makes other felons not want to. It would be the single best device to get people out of a life of crime. If she's a felon, I don't want to be one. That's hilarious. So I want to end. We're going to end on this. I want to ask a question. And we're going to end on this. This is going to be just a few minutes. So it's not like done. We're not like done. But I do want to ask this question. So I want to ask the audience. I wish I knew if someone here had ever filed record requests before. When filing a record request for something that the mayor's office or something that the controller or someone like that has done, where do those record requests go? Do you guys know? You guys are aware. You know where they go. They go to the communications director. She then forwards them out to wherever. Are you all aware of where I would send a record request if I want something specifically from the council? Do you all know? Do you think that I send them out to the communications director and she does it? Or do I send it someplace else? And what do you think happens? I want to see if anyone knows, if anyone writes anything. Or, moreover, let me use another example. If I wanted something from the city court judge, would I submit something through the mayor's communications director? What if I wanted something from the city clerk's office? Stumblefoot says, last time I filed records of the mayor's office, they sent me to his attorney. Now, my question is, Stumblefoot, did they send you to the attorney, or did you send it to the someone in the mayor's office and they send it? Because they do that if there's something questionable. They do that from time to time. The point here is all of these entities that I have said, the clerk, the mayor, the council, they are all independently elected folk. So, excuse me. When I send something that I want from the police, or I send something I want I want emails from the fire chief, or I want something from the street department, or I want something from the controller's office, or I want something from Dan himself, I send it to the administration going through the communications director. When I send something that I want from the council and an email to like a business owner or a council and emails to themselves, I send that to the council attorney. When I send something in all other second-class cities in Indiana that I've ever dealt with, and there's been a lot, if I want something from the clerk's office, I go to the clerk's office to get it. Well, I sent a request through to the clerk's office on Wednesday, and I was denied. The clerk's office said no, they couldn't do that. I needed to submit a records request through the formal channels to the communications director. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not true. So then I reached out to the communications director, and the communications director felt the same way. And I was like, no, that's not true. You don't work for the clerk, you work for the mayor. I know that the clerk's office is in the building, but they are under their own thing. And so there was just a lot of back and forth on whether or not, I was right, she was right, I was wrong, she was wrong. And I'm like, look, yeah, you guys might do that, but that doesn't mean it's the right way. That does not mean it's the right way. That's exactly right. That's exactly right, Kate. And other people under him allowing it to happen, and they're jumping on the bandwagon too. And so I don't know. It's just so frustrating because I was like, well, I ought to be able to walk into the clerk's office and request these documents, these emails, and I should have them before I leave. I should have them before I leave. I shouldn't request these documents and it take 3 weeks to get them. So yes, Amanda, you're right. That's pretty sad. It is pretty sad. So I'm fighting this fight, and it's been a pretty big fight. I'm still waiting on some other records, obviously. I have a big story out of Hartford City that I want to get to. There's a lot going on in Madison County. They've got a budget meeting coming up Tuesday. Watching some things going on in Delaware County government. The communications director sent it to the mayor's attorney. Then the attorney reached out to me saying he couldn't release any emails pertaining to how many times my name came up in their That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. They're just doing too much. Here's the thing. Single-handedly, they're doing too much while also not doing enough. And it blows my mind. It blows my mind how they're overstepping. It's like if you guys weren't running around worrying about all this other nonsense bullshit that's not yours to deal with, then you could be out here doing some good. But they're out here running around worrying about things that don't pertain to them. And because of that, it's causing them a problem. So it's going to cause them a problem. It's causing me a problem. They've made the process so convoluted that no record requests actually get That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. Then I got my ass chewed. Get this. This is the other part of it. I got my butt chewed by the communications director because yeah, I remember that, Stumblefoot. I remember that absolutely. So I'm going to lay back here and tell you this story. So I wanted these emails between Lacey and the attorney and the attorney and Lacey. So I email Lacey and I'm like, hey, requesting these documents. To which she says, I'm not giving you those. You're going to have to go through the comms director. And Lacey's always been a good friend of mine, always been very helpful, always been very, very cool. And sometimes we've butted heads, but, I've never really been shitty with her. And I've done what I could to be nice and not put her in a bad way with her boss or whatever. And so I sent kind of a shitty email back, and I was like, well, is that how Shireen did it? Did Shireen do this? Or did Shireen just walk down and say, hey, could you give me those emails? And you did. And I don't think I got an email back. But then I reached out to Amber, and Amber's like, oh, yeah, I'm aware of this. You should have just sent them to me to begin with. So I'm like, okay, if you want me to send you a formal request, here it goes. So I requested what I wanted, emails between Lacey and Dan Gibson, back and forth, pertaining to Resolution 1725, any time between August 1st and October 10th. And I went all the way back to August because that's when they first wrote about Resolution 1625. Oh, I threw that in there too. 1625 and 1725. Then I went on and said, I want all emails between Lacey and Shireen in that same time period covering this information. Any information between Lacey and Dan Ridenhour, Shireen and Dan Ridenhour, Shireen and Dan Gibson. Like, I ran the whole gamut. And I put a timeline on there of all of August, all of September, and into like the 10th day of October. But the thing I'm looking for is, it's like this. It's like sometimes I could say, hey, I'm looking for a needle in a haystack. Or I could say, hey, I'm looking for a Pontiac in a 40 by 40 garage. It's not hard to find a car parked in a garage. It's hard to find a needle in a haystack. So this time, even though I put up several months, all they've got to do is go search their email and put in the subject Resolution 1625, Resolution 1725. They could even put in each other's names. Ha 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 ha! I requested the haystack. I can find the needle myself. That is amazing, Kate. And I love that statement, and I'm going to use that. And there are times that I do that. I contend that that's not even what I did. I gave them a big parameter, but I said I don't want every email. I don't even want every email between Lacey and Shireen during that given time. I just simply want every email between Lacey and Shireen with these two subject matters. That should still only be like 4 emails, right? It's not hard. I've watched IT populate it before. I've watched individual department heads do it. They should all have it. So now I'm like fighting for this fight. And I'm like, this is kind of crazy because I started off saying I shouldn't have to wait 3 months for an ordinance and resolution. I don't know. So crazy. Absolutely so crazy. They make everything so convoluted. They do everything they can to not do the actual work. I'm getting threatened with like, well, we're allowed to make whatever we want. I'm like, yeah, you can, but you've got to do it in a parameter that's under the law. You can't make it more ratcheted down. And that's what, in theory, they've done. In principle, that's what they've done. They've made it more ratcheted down. So I'm going to have to start going to battle with people who are even my friends up there. Every time I thought I was out, they keep pulling me back in, just like that. So that's what I'm waiting on. That's what we're still fighting. See what's going on there. I'm going to continue fighting the fight. We'll see what happens. We will be back here tomorrow, Tuesday night. There is a big vote in Madison County, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. I will keep you guys posted. Kate said, what was the response to the request? Well, so the response is they're working on it, and I'll get it when I get it, but it'll be a while. And then there was some back and forth, and we were yelling, screaming at each other. At one point, it was like, well, if you're going to make this real hard and, call me stupid, then you're not going to get anything. And I was like, well, you can't do that. Like, you got to give, you can't just say, like, I'm mad, and so you're not getting anything, because that would be a major problem. And Stumblefoot, you are exactly correct. You are exactly correct, sir. So tomorrow night, I was going to do the Alva piece tonight, but I know I had so much going on. Tomorrow night, there's no government, nothing. They can't do anything really to screw anything up. I will start out with the Alva piece tomorrow. I promise you, kick my ass if I don't. Keep my word. I will start out with it. No matter what goes on, we will start out with that Alva piece, and we will go through that. There is a couple of other things locally going on. We'll keep you abreast of what's happening. I'm starting to get a little fed up with the fact that the live streaming is going downhill. Working on this with Riding Hour, it shouldn't be, again, as hard as it is, but they keep making it just much more harder, so we're going to have to fight it. We're going to continue fighting it. I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you all very much for tuning in. What happened in your election, Alva? I'll have to get on the mail, or have to get on and Google it and find out what goes on. So comment below if you get a chance, or shoot me a message if you would. Okay, as far as everything else, please, before you run out the door, make sure if you are so inclined that you hit the like button. We would very greatly appreciate it. That would be fantastic. Oh. Before we go, I'll give you guys a little, give me 1 second here. I'll throw up a little taste here to maybe get you to go, maybe a little taste here to get you to go watch the other program here. I'm going to share you a little short here. All right, here we go. I'm going to share you a little short from the other show, and you guys can then go and find it. We've got this. We've got this. We've got this and this. View and submit. Oh yeah, this will be great. This is a short, and it is called Evil Belly Shirt. Looks like Bilbrey made a short. Yes, they didn't talk about.
It's the Bilbrey and Clark Show.
I have actually. Can you fix that behind you at all? If that's just the way that it works, it's okay. You have a half fucking shirt on?
Yeah, why?
What is a half shirt? Did you make it that way?
Ryan did.
Ryan cut it off like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of these days I'm going to wear a half shirt.
Well, but you don't see it.
You won't see it. I know, that sucks. I was just thinking, like, I wish someone was seeing. I mean, we're recording right now, but no one's seeing it. Like, this won't obviously be on the show.
Until you put a clip in and be like,
no, I put that clip in.
The only fucking 50-year-old woman I know that wears a fucking belly shirt.
Only do that. What kind of shirt is that?
It's a belly shirt or a crop top.
No, I got that. What the fuck is on the writing?
Oh, I have no idea. I've never read it.
It probably says, like, I suck balls. Why are you wearing a shirt you don't know what it says?
What does it say? Beware.
Like balls.
The definition says an even distribution of weight
Light and dark. That is like a witch. Oh, it's some kind of Ryan witch shit. Can you fix that behind you at all?
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
We had a big, this was a big behind the scenes blunder before the show got started recording on Thursday night. So go watch the shorts, go watch the little clips. We're putting a little, I'm trying to experiment around with different things over on that channel. So go check that out. If you are not subscribed over there, I would highly recommend you getting subscribed over there before you hurt my feelings. This is the show. This is what it looks like. The Bilbrey and Clark Show. You got it there. YouTube.com/Bilbrey Clark Show at all major podcast hosting sites. It's very easy. You can find it. Go over there, subscribe, poke around, watch around. They are getting better each time. So just give us a look, give us a listen, and remember, obviously, we're here and we love you here too. We will be back here the rest of the week, God willing, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday night is the big council meeting in Muncie. Tuesday night's the big council meeting in Madison County, and we will have those live streamed as well as content after both of those episodes. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Have a great Columbus Day, and have a great week. And we will see you back here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Until then, take care, good night, and goodbye.